This is rich. This is really fascinating, and actually, I'm going to be keen to organize another and explore this a little bit further. But as we round up, this is my last question to you. We want to build this global conscience. We know we have to do things very differently. We know it requires a very different kind of investment. But more than that, we are inviting the world into this pathway where the first step is to sacrifice the comforts that you currently have. This is a big deal. We also know, and I think it's very difficult to deny, that we have actively disempowered many groups in the world. Women, youth, people with disability. There's a race base to this. So my question to you is, as we hold hands as part of this new global conscience, what do folk in my generation, who generally sit in the seats of power, need to do to help to agentize a little bit further, empower a little bit further the younger people of the world who are the ones that are going to lead us into this revolutionary change?
This is the real question. So what you're asking here is what work needs to be done inside and outside. And I think it always starts with inside. So the personal growth aspect, dealing with your own, whatever you consider to be your trauma, your pain, your identities, being ready to shed that, being ready to listen to other points of view. I think this is the biggest hurdle that any of these people you have pointed out will need to face. And if they are surrounded by people who are not willing to do that, then they are not curating the right environment for themselves to actually help the world move into some element or some form of a sustainable planet. So I think this inner work that we talk about, inner regeneration, as we refer to in the circles of regeneration, needs to happen as a first point of call. If that work is not being done, everything else is simply a part of the crisis. This is something that Bayo Akomolafe asks us regularly. He says, what if the crisis is how we respond to the crisis? So this inner work is the most crucial thing. And it's very difficult to do because it's very difficult to find people who are talking about what that work actually is. And the truth is, it will be different depending on your context and the levers that you have to pull, right, on a daily basis particularly. However, I think part of this, but how do we curate the environment within which people can be invited or feel ready to actually do that work, right? So this is the setting the foundations or creating the conditions to be able to ripen this sort of initiative. So I think how to do that in kind of the little experience that I have is to network weave. And this is a new form of understanding how to build solidarity in very careful ways, because we must not expose overexposed or underexposed peoples to the great ignorance that we all have, particularly in corporate business. And so what I think the network weaving can do is to bring together particularly intergenerational relationships, like you talked about. So it's not necessarily about giving youth the leadership, but rather to support the youth in a way where these intergenerational relationships are actually centering upon the future human generations. And the focus of this work should be, what kind of future human generation do we want to leave Mother Earth? That is really the question we should be asking ourselves. And this, I think, helps us to start to imagine new modes of almost indigeneity, where it is a system of living that we are in true reciprocity with nature's entities and ecosystems. So I think until we are asking these really real questions, heavy questions, any parent should be asking these questions, we can't really start to do that in a work until we're asking these questions collectively together.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I want to say two things. First is that although you have been piercing in describing the problematique, I have to say that folk like me take real heart from the kind of leadership that you already display. And the second thing I want to say, and since you brought it into the conversation, there's a quote from Rihanna that I think very aptly describes how I think about you. And she says, there is something so special about a woman who dominates in a man's world. It takes a certain grace, strength, intelligence, fearlessness, and the nerve to never take no for an answer. Samantha Supia, thank you for being such an inspiration. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much. Cheers.